idea of what could be not worked out improperly. So when I try and take my shades off, I get them stuck, and that's because this has an open crux. And like an ocean sea ridge, the crux is used, of course, to derive things that shouldn't, and then enhance them because they overcome the hurdle. The boiling water in the vents of the open sea ridge have toxins that come out from one end and boiling water from the other. This crafts these bizarre microorganisms in such a fashion that they're able to ingest toxins. It's just snails with hair or clams that are the size of frisbees. Your body in modern day times being looked at as a automation, treating it as if they just installed a CD. Particles, when they're most dangerous, is when they pretend they're something they're not and they're actually real. The land, of course, is how things encumber different results. Perhaps the deep ocean trenches where it boils and toxins spew out, they're so opposite, mirrors how anti and matter conjure an annihilation. But a nuclear bomb doesn't annihilate. The potential there is just as equivalent to all the atoms in your body if they were to fuse together, whereas they don't. But the potential is there to make the measurement equivalent to, well, how much of a Spitfire or a firecracker your innards would be if it were not a robot, but a A-bomb. Even though, look at what I'm wearing. I'm wearing essentially a rag that I was just cleaning with. I didn't have a different shirt because I sweated in my last one, so it was this, a sweaty shirt, or no shirt. And so if I want a tea with flowers in it, and so I make a bush that has flowers growing off of it, I pick all the petals, and then I need some more tea. But then I go to people who are blind, and I start saying, you know what? I'm gonna give you some really good tea if you pay for it. And by you paying for it, I mean having the government tax pay for it. And then we'll just tax you at the end of the year, so much so that you won't even realize it. So then that's all fine and dandy. And when it comes to the tea, you say, okay, well, I'm gonna take this tea. I give you some petals with something like this. Now you're unable to see the quality of the petals at face value, because I would be taking these and boiling them, and little do you know, after it's been secreted into a liquid form, what exactly it would entail. That's all it takes in order to make a cesspool look as though it's Kool-Aid. And if you get everyone to drink the Kool-Aid without knowing that they're joining a cesspool, it's gonna be of really bad outcomes just because you thought that you had to drink the Kool-Aid. Now, for the people on the other hand, were behind the gate, the man behind the curtain, the people cooking the Kool-Aid, they on the other hand had a prerogative before you were even introduced to a Kool-Aid. And what they might be doing this for is not because they didn't have enough money to get another bush to make some more flowers, is that they needed an excuse to give people Kool-Aid because their cesspool needed enrichment. And why would a cesspool need enrichment is from a lack of obligation on the other end. The grass is greener on the other side, whereas the cesspool is stronger the more that it is polluted. And why would you need a stronger cesspool? Is so that you could cover up more horrific things. In the story Abel and Cain, where it wasn't enough to kill his brother, he had to trick him as if he was still friendly as a brother would be, and then kill him. And so he got off on killing his brother by leading him into his lawn, his territory, where he was more familiar with his land than his brother were. With the cesspool, it's an invisible swamp. That's the archetype metaphor, but the entire world as an oyster is something easier to understand, where it could be not an oyster, but a swamp that is actually a cesspool. And I might be using the word cesspool as bad as it may seem. On a scale that's even worse, because I don't really know what a cesspool is. I just know that it's a negative idealism, and I just am incorporating that with liquid because, well, when things are turned from solid to liquid, the hindrance of the material is unable to be seen because the extraction of juice we can't test for classically just by looking at it. It's like a jack-in-the-box. When someone is put up to a jack-in-the-box, you know that something's gonna pop out when they're rilling it, but you don't know what exactly will be popping out on the spring with the curtain around it. That's where we're at. I don't know if you know what the word eugenics means, but it has a great deal to do with drugs and manipulating chemical compositions of genes. And if you don't know what genes are, it's the thing that gives you an identity within your parents' ancestral line of identities. It's so funny to seem that I was comparing particles to bombs of atom bombs. That's the big and the small. Let's cut those two in the middle and say how the body of the legal system are going around in places such as New York and arresting people not wearing masks. And China turns on the TV and they see that this is what is happening because of their eugenics program that they were operating for leisure. And so leisurely, their hobby has turned into a man in New York getting beaten with a baton to throw a mask on. If you don't think that's funny, I don't understand why you don't know the concept irrationality, because that makes sense only if it is so absurd that it does make sense as why they did it.